The episode would open on Jabba's palace once again as the action begins. At this point, Boba and his gang are ready to face the Pikes, front on. We see Boba surface in front of the horizon riding his Rancor as the binary suns rise in the background. This is a great throwback to that first scene we get with Luke standing with the binary suns in the distance. This would also show the progress of Fett over the last two Mando episodes, while it doesn't put the audience through him falling off the creature like 1,000 times, allowing us to get straight into the action. At this time, the Pikes now control all three territories of Mos Espa, and they're beginning to advance on the palace, or maybe there has already been an attempted attack by one of the mercenaries. This would be an amazing time to see a live action face-off between Bane and Boba, as while fighting with the Pike Syndicate, I don't think we'd get a good shot of the one-on-one between the both. Perhaps both mercenaries are at a standstill when Fennec comes in, joining the fight. 2-on-1 might not be fair for Bane, but would be enough to overpower him and either kill him off or let him escape to come back in a future Star Wars series. Also a good chance for a possible rematch with Fennec and Bane, after seeing both of them in Bad Batch. During this battle we may even get an Omega reference, or a reference to their last fight on Borovio, where Cad Bane said she lacked the experience to beat him. Maybe this time she's got the experience. This would be similar to Ahsoka's conversation with Rex throughout the Clone Wars and Rebels, where experience is everything in his books. After this battle, we'd eventually see Cobb Vanth return with his injuries from the last episode, and the people of Mos Pelgo, the people of Freetown, ready to fight. This would be where we see the mass number of Pikes that have landed on the surface since the first ship, and possibly who is leading them. Din shows up with a Darksaber, if not already there, with Boba, Fennec, Chrysanthemum, and the Vesper gang with Freetown. Here we'd see the Pikes defending their new turf, as I assume they'd have a little time to settle in and build defences since we've seen them. And the Boba crew marching through, taking out as many as they can see, one by one. As the Pike family are a group of crime syndicates and not mercenaries as Boba, Fennec, Din and Chrysanthemum are, I don't think they'd stand a chance of facing up to them, let alone taking them on and being victorious through battle. As we see them push through the streets of Mos Espa, we'd see a familiar face appear to put up a challenge for the offensive. This would be a great time for Bane to show up, however, I am hopeful we see another. As Kira onboards her ship, swords in hand, the soundtrack of the episode begins to heighten as we reach the peak of the battle. Din and Boba fly over with their backpacks, and as the duel proceeds, Boba is split off from the fight. Here, similar to the last two episodes, we get a look at how cool the Mando is and how people wanted to see Boba in this series. However, he cannot keep up with Kira as she received training from the Sith Master himself, Darth Maul. And because of this, I think she knows the importance of the Darksaber and what it means to the Mandalorian people. The battle rages as Kira takes the upper hand and eventually beating Din, Saber dropping to the floor. She defeated him, rightfully in battle. Kira, the new owner of the Darksaber, gets caught off guard. Right at that moment, Boba busts down the door, similar to how we see him in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. He's unstoppable. Using his Beskar armour among all his gadgets to his advantage, he blocks every attack Kira throws his way. Right, left, trying to catch her off guard with his flamethrower or wrist rockets. This would be an epic fight to see, as we haven't seen much of Boba in action, and this would be his redemption. This is where the show would cut to outside the slaughter of townfolks and Pikes alike, filling the streets. Maybe we see a scene of the mayor's advisor escaping off-world, as I'm sure he knows where the mayor has gone to. We get a close-up of each merc slaughtering masses before going back to the main conference. It'd be cool to see a few more of Boba's tricks here used, such as the cable he used in Return of the Jedi, which, of course, Kira would just cut through, but it'd be a nice reference to the original trilogy. Able to catch an opening, Boba knocks the Darksaber out of her hand, holding it to her head. The fight is over. I feel they wouldn't drag out this fight, as they'd want to show Boba in the most badass way they can. The prophecy of the Mythosaur has been fulfilled. This is the prophecy the armourer spoke of in the last episode, from the Fett crest that Boba wears. And while I do theorise the armourer is a Mandalorian, I don't think we'll be seeing her again until the next chapters of The Mandalorian. Let me know if you want me to drop a theory on this. Boba with a Darksaber then orders Kira and the Pikes to leave Tatooine for good and not return, meaning we could possibly see trouble with the Twin Hutts at some point in the future. We could also see the bigger Crimson Dawn Syndicate return with more muscle power than before to try and take back Tatooine. Now owner of the historic Mandalorian artifact, we could see Boba return to Mandalore with Din, restoring the planet to its former glory after the Night of 1,000 Tears. This would leave Fennec behind to manage Mos Espa, which would be cool to see. We know she's able to hold her own, as she's doing most of the work so far in the series, and it would be great to get a show, or even comic series, following around Fennec and her travels among the scum and villainy of Tatooine. Boba joining Din also leads us to seeing more of this Godfather Boba and bounty hunter Din, as they build a Mandalorian house or clan, recruiting many foundlings and restoring the glory to Mandalore under the Darksaber. We could follow this arc through Mandalorian Season 3, which means we get to see more Boba as we have Mando through the Book of Boba. We could eventually see Din start his own Mandalorian temple or school for foundlings where Grogu could return to learn the ways of the Mando after partially completing his training with Jedi Grandmaster Luke. Speaking of Luke, after the credits roll we see amazing concept art for this episode. I believe we could get a reference to Kenobi in some way. With the series hopefully coming to Disney Plus in May this year, very soon, it would be great if we get a shot back to Luke and Grogu training, hinting at Grogu having picked up Yoda's lightsaber. We see Luke talking to the Force ghost of none other than Obi-Wan Kenobi himself. Here, we could get Luke briefly voice concern over Grogu's attachment, for Kenobi to reference Darth Vader on Anakin Skywalker. While this scene would have to be very brief as not to take away from the episode, seeing Kenobi's ghost would be cool and get everyone excited for Kenobi series this year, if we're not already. While confirmation of its release wouldn't come until closer to the release date, I believe it'd be cool to start theorising on what to come. All in all, I am really excited for the end of this season of Book of Boba Fett and would be interested in seeing what content we can get spinning off from this finale, with many predictions to come. Hello there, I hope you enjoyed today's fan theory on episode 7 of the Book of Boba Fett. I'll be back after the episode this week to discuss how close this theory was, and will of course make a video breaking down the episode and all the Easter eggs we may have missed the first time viewing. If you want to see more content like this, let me know in the comments, alongside improvements or other content you'd like to see me post. And thank you all for watching. Remember, be mindful of the future, but not at the expense of the moment.